We're back. Another edition of the College Football Roundtable, powered by Outkick.com. Happy to be joined by my boys, Jonathan Hutton, Chad Withrow. The guys are on hot mic every single day from 11 Eastern to 12 o'clock. Go check it out. Boys, what's happening? Another crazy weekend of football.
It was awesome. It was an awesome week, Chad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. So few times does everything live up to it. But I felt like this weekend, all the big games were at least tightly contested. Some featured more offense than others, but it's never a dull moment when we're talking college football. And this past week definitely delivered.
Yeah, it lived up to it. And I think it all started, I think it got everybody rolling on Friday night when Florida State lost to Virginia. And I was like, okay. And then we had Arizona State and TCU playing, and that one was a good one. So it was like, all right, top that. And actually, they did top that. But we're going to look ahead to the upcoming weekend, kind of take a step back a little bit of what we saw. But I want to first start out with this one because the Paul Finebaum. Now, I give people in the Northwest, the West Coast, the Northeast, Midwest, like the Paul Finebaum news is probably not that big of a deal to them, and I understand it. They make fun of the SEC by dealing with the Paul Finebaum show. But from a media standpoint, it is a big to do. From a sports media standpoint, it's a very big deal. And Clay got to sit down with Paul Finebaum on Friday night before Georgia and Alabama were playing in Athens. And while he didn't come out and directly say it, I'll preface it with this. A couple months ago, Alabama Republicans were sent a voter poll, and they had 6 names on it. Well, 2 of those names for the Senate would have been A.J. McCarron and Paul Finebaum. I've seen it. My family members got it. And at the same time, you start to wonder. Okay, so then fast forward, and Paul Finebaum is talking about politics. He's talking about obviously the sports realm of it, but everything has changed. Chad, I want to start off with you here. I could see this happening, him running for Senate. I think it's going to happen. I think, and then everything kind of changes when it comes to, the voice of the South per se and what he was. But on a magnet scale of this, how big is it for Paul Finebaum to come out, say what he said, which none of it's controversial, by the way, but say what he said, and then there's the aspect of it from the media landscape where things can change for him in his show.
Well, first, before I answer the question, I would like to take this moment to announce that I too will be running for political office at some point. Trey, I just think it's indicative of where we are. I mean,
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yes,
it's
going to be
Senator,
it's going to be in the
vote.
17th state congressional district. I will be representing my block in my subdivision, and that's it, and no one else. But
Screw you, HOA.
I mean, I'm sorry, but the ego involved in all of this, I'm going to call it what it is. Donald Trump showed a path for a lot of people that were not career politicians. Look, everybody who's ever been president has a giant ego. So I'm not just saying that Donald Trump's the only one to have megalomania, to have some sort of sense of confidence in self that is way different than most humans with any humility has. Donald Trump lacks that. And I think people that just up and decide, hey, I need to run for public office and I need to represent my district. And I need that. Like, there's a little bit of not a little bit, a big amount of ego involved in that. And I'm sure that all the ad campaigns for Paul Finebaum will talk about him being selfless and this is his chance to serve and all that. And that may very well be true with Paul Finebaum. Look, I would never do it. That's not because I don't love the country or my state or anything else. But I mean, this guy's built an empire in sports media in the South, and he's going to leave that behind to go serve in the Senate in a state where, I mean, Trey, you're from Alabama. The Republicans could announce you as the candidate and you'd win.
That's a good point.
You, like, he's going to win. I mean, where's the intrigue here? Run as a Democrat and win. Boy, that'd be an upset. Like that. Right. That's what I'd like to see. Like, this is just a no-brainer that he's going to win. So I don't know. I got to be honest. I love that Outkick got the story. I love the conversation with Clay. I like Paul. Anytime I've talked to him, very nice guy. I think a highly intelligent guy. He may do a great job in Senate, but I'm here to tell you this just doesn't move me at all.
Well, so to me, you don't do this unless you're running, right?
Bingo. There you go. That's it.
I don't think so.
No.
It's not hard for him to go win now because he's got Legend and Tammy from wherever voting for him.
I didn't think about that.
So like they'll be my name's Legend and I endorse Paul Finebaum and I approve this message.
Yeah.
Okay, but Trey, let me say it from this angle. You know better than many based on your ties to the state. The information that was being mailed out. They had like hypothetical names, right? Written in like, would you vote for so and so? And his name was on it. What other names were on this list if Paul Finebaum's name was on this list? And go ahead, because I want to have a follow up on it.
Well, no, it was AJ McCarron, and then I was told three names that somebody last name Marshall. What I'm getting at, a former Navy SEAL was in it. I'm trying to remember the name straight off the bat because they were all told to me by family members because it caught them off guard like 2 months ago or whenever it was when they got it. So they called me and they're like, hey, and I keep up with Alabama politics just because I'm from the state. My family lives there.
Absolutely.
Half of my family lives there. But that was like, oh, okay. They're not floating the name out there. And this was before like the interview with Clay, by the way, like before that was even lined up and everything like that. So it's like, okay, interesting. So, but I will say my home state is shameless. Like, we'll elect anybody. Like, it doesn't freaking matter. We have some 80-year-old as the governor who just doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And no offense, is what it is. And Tommy Tuberville was elected senator.
And he's gonna be the governor too. Like, and that's all fine and dandy. Like, just I don't know. I don't mean to sound so cynical about it because like maybe his heart is right and in the right place. And I heard what he said about Charlie Kirk, but I mean, show me a battleground state. Like, this is just hand delivered. Like in a red state like Alabama, just like it would be hand delivered in a blue state like Vermont, or New Hampshire or Washington State. So I don't really understand the stakes involved here of how this is going to shift a lot of things if he's a U.S. senator. And I just think he's very impactful as a sports media member. And I understand there are bigger things out there than football and college football and all that. But I don't know, guys. I like my Paul Finebaum as a Southern college football fixture and not U.S. Senator Paul Finebaum.
I used to until he starts talking about greatest quarterback since Tim Tebow, and then he kind of loses me.
Yeah,
shock jock bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so maybe since I used to like that, maybe I like him more in this area. I don't know, to be honest with you. And wouldn't know until the campaign gets going. But there's not much of a campaign to be had whenever you're in the Deep South, you're in the SEC, and you're Paul Finebaum. I'm curious, though, did the list include Nick Saban?
No, it did not. No.
Because he's Democrat, right?
I'm
asking legit. Like, if he ran, he would win as a Democrat.
Yeah, I think he, like Clay, probably was more left-leaning, left of center. And I'm sure that he's now a Republican, just like Clay and a lot of other people, where the party just left him. So,
but Chad, I think we all agree he's whatever the hell he wants to be.
And that's my point. Like, that's the game. Like, I want Nick Saban to come out in favor of dudes playing in women's sports and go run for Senate in Alabama and win. Like, that's a challenge, right? Go do that. Like, go out in opposition and be like, you know what? This dude that is doing the hurdles in Connecticut deserves to win women's state titles in Connecticut. I don't even know what state it's going on. I have no clue where this is happening. But I'm just saying, like, that's interesting to me. Like, a Republican winning Senate in Alabama does not interest me in the least bit. I'm just not interested at all.
From a political angle, it is a big deal just because as he's winning in Alabama. He's someone that can form an argument and debate on Capitol Hill. He will have a voice. He will be able to articulate his message. He will be a go-to for media members wanting a quote from someone on Capitol Hill. That's important to the United States of America. So despite that the Republicans are going to, just crush whoever runs in that state, the hand-picked heir to that seat from Tommy Tuberville, that's a big deal. So if it's Paul Finebaum, if it's, AJ McCarron, whoever, there's a reason why he's recently moved back to the state. And I mean, he's going to have some, at 70 years old or however he is now, he's going to have some power. I just hope he doesn't give him a microphone and say some of the crap that we've heard this past year in regards to Arch Manning because of a guy's last name, not because of his actual opinion.
The funniest thing, and we'll wrap up on this part, is that AJ McCarron on, I think it was Tuesday, was talking shit about people that voted. If you voted for Paul Finebaum, and I'm paraphrasing here, but you're clueless and whatnot. Sorry, bro. I know you were contemplating running. Like, your name was on the list. You don't get put on the Republican name list for a consensus or a voting poll if you weren't thinking about running. And I know he was thinking about running. I've talked to most people about that. So AJ's talking shit because the Republican Party decided, we're going to go with Paul Finebaum over you. Like, that's why he's talking shit. So,
Senator Tagovailoa, your thoughts? Senator Tagovailoa.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we think AJ. Yeah, Sean Alexander would be a great senator too. I'd vote for him also, even if he were a Democrat. Do we think that somebody with his chest tat is going to vote Democrat? I mean, come on. Like, don't vote for Paul. Who are you going to vote for? The Democrat? Like, he's going to vote for Paul Finebaum, or he's not going to vote.
He's going to
go in absentia.
That man knows pain. He has my vote. He knows. He knows pain.
Good Lord. A guy who frequents Floribama line as much as he does is not voting Democrat. Give me an absolute break. I don't know. I don't see any of the intrigue in it. I really don't. Maybe I'm missing the plot here, but it just doesn't interest me that much.
Look, who's next? If it's Paul Finebaum, who's next in a different state? Like, Don Lemon, where does he live?
Oh shit. I don't even know. Louisiana was his home state. Louisiana was his home state. Like, have at it, bro. Like,
you think AJ McCarron's like, you should not vote for Paul Finebaum, but I tell you who I won't vote for, a woman.
Yeah.
I don't know who's running against Paul Finebaum. And I've interviewed AJ McCarron once. He's a nice guy, but like, AJ McCarron's going to vote for whoever the Republicans tell him to vote for. Just like most of the people in the state of Alabama. I mean, you could have the biggest issue with something Paul Finebaum said about your program. You're going to line up on voting day, and you're going to go to the local VFW or your community center, and you're going to vote for whoever the Republicans tell you to vote for, whether that's Paul Finebaum or AJ McCarron or Don Lemon, as Hutton said. That's who you're going to vote for. So I mean, let's start talking about the games where there's actual intrigue. I'm way more excited to see what happens in Vandy, Bama than I am to see what happens to the U.S. Senator in Alabama.
I hope everyone goes and writes in the name Tripp from Innisfree as U.S. Senator.
Now that is a ticket I could get behind. Having visited with Tripp there, that's one that could really get me emotional about
Joey Freshwater, Senator Freshwater.
Tripp and Joey Freshwater need to run on an independent ticket against the Republicans and the Democrats, and then I'm all in.
Yes.
I'll tell you guys, as we move on, my home state is back ass crazy. So, and I love them. I love all my family. I know you're watching.
Trey, everybody's home state is crazy.
Yeah.
Tennessee is crazy. Like, this is my point. No one thinks for themselves anymore. It's like you just do what you're told based on what your algorithm on social media tells you to do. Like, no, show me the true battleground states, and I'll show you states that are kind of sane. To be quite honest,
let's find
at least there's people on both sides talking things through, and there's a debate about who you're going to vote for. For 95% of Americans, I'm convinced it's already written who they're going to vote for and what states are going to do. And until we can start to get away from that, I'm more interested in the four power teams that haven't won a game yet. I'd rather talk UCLA football than talk about this shit.
UCLA basketball.
Yeah, UCLA basketball. Get it right, bro. Like,
what about the meals being served on the trips home?
That's it. All right, we're moving on. That was enough politic bullshit. Congratulations to Paul Finebaum on whatever he decided to do, and hat tip to Clay for the interview. That was great.
Paul. I'm very happy. Paul. Can I talk to Paul, please?
Cheers to Paul Finebaum, U.S. Senator Paul Finebaum. Great job.
Correct. I look forward to being
let me say it right here, because we're not owned by Disney or ESPN. What an absolute chicken shit move if that guy doesn't run now. If he just did this to get all the publicity and all the talk, and oh my God, Paul, save us, Paul. Save us from the swamp in D.C. And to get all that, and then to come back and be like, I thought about it. I'm going to stay at ESPN. GTFO on that. Now that it's out there, you better run, dude.
Yeah. And defend the criminal record of some of your callers.
Yeah. Immediate targets for
Legend.
some of them.
Legend.
Legend Tammy. No, it's a wild scene, and
Is
I
Harvey
think when
Updike still alive?
God look, God bless Harvey Updike. That crazy ass gave us some of the best headlines in that state for a lot. I know some trees died, and God bless those trees, but damn it, that guy was batshit crazy.
Oh,
I'd love to meet some Harvey Updike. All right, let's move on to a more effed up situation, and that's what's going on at Arkansas right now with Sam Pittman being fired. He ended up getting 65% of his buyout, which is around $7 million. It's like 6.9, $7 million to walk away. And he'll be fine. He has a nice, beautiful house on the Ozark Lake, the Ozark, whatever it is, and he'll be fine. He'll probably get back into coaching, I'd imagine, after taking a year or two off. But the motorcycle rides again. Bobby Petrino's back. Hog wild. And I look at this whole situation, and I'm listening to Hunter Yurachek yesterday, Chad and Jonathan. He was like, yeah, we didn't give Sam Pittman the resources he needed to win. And I'm like, what? Wait, why the fuck would you come out? What? You just came out and said that you didn't give him financial resources to win, but then you wanted to bitch and complain about his record. So it just, I think Hunter Yurachek is probably the next to go down the line. I think this is a setup. But Hut, we'll start off with you, brother. When you look at the Arkansas situation right now and who they could potentially get as a coach, and I know there are names out there. Rhett Lashley did the whole thing today where he was like, you know what? I just want to thank all my SMU players. I'm not, we're very happy here, but I wouldn't be here and be mentioning other jobs if it weren't for my players. Whatever. It's all bullshit. You know that.
Or Jerry
But
Jones.
Hut, looking at it all around, brother, Arkansas's got a situation because I think they're about ready to fund a coach and fund NIL. But who do they go get?
They may have him. Bobby
I
Petrino's
know.
already lobbied his way into the interim, and he's already lobbied his
No.
way back in. It's not like Sam Pittman wanted to hire him. And
No.
Hunter Yurachek is saying that because he doesn't have the support either.
Right.
It's not like he didn't want to give the support, the financial backing, which is BS.
Yes.
The financial back. Look, I'm told Jerry Jones is all about Rhett Lashley. We know his ties to Arkansas. Yeah, they're about to go fund a coach based on who's going to win this battle of coaching carousel. Right now, Bobby Petrino can win it. If he rattles off 3 or 4 wins right here, what happens at the end of the season? I don't think he backdoors his way in to the position he was in. And then we see him negotiate his way into the interim job.
Right. Yeah.
Only to not have a chance to win it. And I mean, Arkansas, there's no reason why they can't win a couple games in an SEC that's turned into college football NFL. So I can totally see him. I can totally see them going down. If they don't have the funds for Sam Pittman, then old man Bobby Petrino rides again, just without a neck brace this time because no one's wanting to bang him.
Yeah, but Chad, when you look at the situation right now, and that's pretty damn funny because no one wants to bang him. Unless you're banging Harley. Chad, so taking a look at Sam Pittman leaves. They do it after getting their ass whipped by Notre Dame. Bobby Petrino's the interim. They say they're going to launch a search. You're not hiring anybody until middle of December, January, whichever team is maybe out of the playoff race is when you move on. Like, is Arkansas a sexy job compared to maybe what else might be open this year?
Well, first off, it's Lake of the Ozarks. I know
Lake of the Ozarks.
Huge Jason Bateman fan
That's
from
true.
Ozark and did a lot of research about that area. Look, Sam Pittman, by the way, before we close the book on him, and I got to credit our buddy SEC Mike, who's actually, I think, quoting Vern Funquist on a show. 71% of his losses came against ranked teams. 47 of his games were against ranked teams. 56% of those losses were by one score. And the moral of the story is it's hard in the SEC, right? Sam Pittman did not do a terrible job. And it's really hard at Arkansas, and it's hard everywhere. I mean, especially now, we see every SEC road game is going to be a battle. Regardless of how good you are, it's never going to be easy. So I think Sam Pittman did a pretty good job. When Hunter Yurachek comes out and says, we don't have the resources or the money to compete the way we do, that is a damning statement. You don't make that in public at all. Now, what he could come back and say when he's trying to sell this job to the next coach is, John Calipari gets money. He gets the donors interested because if we hire someone like you, John Gruden, or you, Rhett Lashley, or you, Coach Prime, or you, Dabo Sweeney, if we bring in you, the money will follow. Dabo Sweeney's interesting to me. I don't think he's going to leave Clemson, but if it got bad enough and he felt disrespected enough, and Clemson fans felt like, it's time for a change of scenery, that would be the John Calipari move to get out ahead of the firing and just to start over somewhere else. I think he would crush it. I think John Gruden would crush it there. Is it a sexy job? Absolutely not. But if you get Tyson Foods and you get the Walton family and Walmart and you get Jerry Jones back engaged and involved in the program, yeah, I mean it's a good job for somebody. Like, could Arkansas be Ole Miss if they had a Lane Kiffin type as coach? Yeah, they could be that consistent. They could be a top 10, top 15 program. Are they going to always be there? No, it's going to be a challenge, but I think it's a good job. I think it's going to attract some good candidates. I think their AD either needs to not be the AD or shut his mouth about the funds they don't have if they want to hire a good coach.
Yeah, that's the shocking
Sam
part.
Pittman's a
Go
good
ahead.
coach. Sam
Yeah.
Pittman's a good coach, right? He's not an SEC head coach because
Yeah.
you can't be just a nice guy and expect to, get everything that falls in order at a university like Arkansas. It can work at Alabama for Nick Saban, but that's few and far between. Like, you got to play the game, and you have to have the resources to play the game. So if you don't, you're a basketball school. If you don't, you're a basketball school. And that's what Arkansas is now. Am I wrong in thinking, like, okay, you don't have the resources for football, you're a basketball school. You have John Calipari. You have the money you have Tyson behind you on that. That means you're a basketball school. Now, if you're a football school, you go hire Rhett Lashley. But see, I don't see Dabo Sweeney working at Arkansas. I see Dabo Sweeney working at Alabama, right? Like that. Those are two separate tiers altogether.
Florida.
But John Gruden, yeah, because John Gruden is to me is coming in a different level than where Dabo would be coming in from. Like there's a puzzle piece to the Dabo Sweeney thing. There's no puzzle to John Gruden. He fits the John Calipari like template. You've got again, it would be incredible.
Yes.
But I don't think we've named the smart hire yet, right? Like, if they're really going about it strategically at Arkansas, you've got to go find your Clark Lee, right? You've got to find your dude.
Yep.
And Sam Pittman was that for like a year, but Sam Pittman is, hey, more power to him. He's enjoying the cold beer. That's what he wanted to do when he celebrated. He should go celebrate a $7 million buyout and whatever he's got, and then go coach offensive linemen. And then go lie to an NFL team about Isaiah Wilson again.
That's tough shit.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like,
well, let me throw this out here just for discussion's sake.
Okay.
If you want to go, established, safe, possible hire, someone that needs a new scenery. Texas A&M tried to hire Mark Stoops, and it didn't work out. Mark Stoops at Arkansas with a fresh start.
There you go.
Proven he can win in a worse job. Right?
Right.
I mean, he's not doing it right now at Kentucky. I don't see it getting any better at Kentucky for him. Would that be a good restart and refresh button for Mark Stoops and for Arkansas?
He'll never go. He'll never go. He's already called out John Calipari for being a football school at Kentucky.
Here's
right.
I tell you, here's another thing that people are missing, and we'll move on here with the Stoops situation.
I like that pick.
I do like that pick. But here's the thing: Stoops is not going to give Kentucky the satisfaction of not having to pay his buyout like Calipari did. If Calipari would have been fired by Kentucky, he'd have been owed around 27. As we sit here right now, God bless Mark Stoops' agent. No matter what happens, they'd have to find so much cause on him. They would have to go back to when the Kentucky players were not working at the hospital, but acting like they were working at the hospital and then filing it to get paid. Like, that's what they would have to get him on for cause. And by the way, that shit happened. I'm just letting everybody know right now that had to happen about 3 years ago. But they owe him $38 million, and they got to pay it within 60 days. This is not an installment loan type of shit. Right. They got to pay him $38 million within 60 days. So he's there. Sorry, Kentucky, you ain't getting rid of Stoops
for winning 7 games.
Right.
And now they're on their knees praying to win 7 games.
I know.
In a season. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
No, no, no. It's a bad spot. Let's look back to the weekend just a little bit as we look ahead. Bama, Georgia. Holy shit. Like that was I predicted Alabama to beat Georgia. I didn't expect them to come out and look, they didn't score a single point in the second half and they still won that football game. That goes against what the defense was doing. You know, you got Ryan Grubb, the OC, calling plays where Caden Proctor is catching bubble screens and rolling 10 yards down the field. Like this game had everything but the balls of Ty Simpson in that first half. And if folks are paying attention, Chad, we're going to start with you here. If folks are paying attention to the Tennessee Georgia game, you'd realize that Georgia's defense is not good this year compared to years past under Kirby Smart. They're getting diced up. When we look at that one and you look at Georgia right now and Alabama, Chad, what is your biggest takeaway from that besides the fact that Kirby Smart just can't get over the Alabama hump?
So two things I think jump out to me about that game. One, Ty Simpson may be the perfect quarterback for Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubbs in that system.
Yep.
And that, you know, he may be the perfect guy. Like he looked scared and tentative against Florida State. He looked like a guy in control of the offense and seeing things well in that game. Now, I say all that to say it took them forever. They didn't score any points from like 12 minutes on in the game, you
Right.
know, either team. So it wasn't like he was lighting the scoreboard up in that game. So he didn't do as much as, let's say, Joey Aguilar did in Tennessee's offense against that Georgia defense, right? But
Correct.
he was
Correct.
very, very good, and they won on the road. So full marks to Alabama. The mental hold that Alabama has over Kirby Smart specifically is shocking, given how dominant Kirby Smart's been against everyone else. Kick the field goal, right? That's the big takeaway. Tie the game up, and let's see what happens. Not a single point is scored after they decide to try to run it on 4th and 1 and get stuffed, where they had an opportunity to kick a field goal and tie the game. So,
Yep.
guys, I think it's pretty simple. The biggest takeaway to me is two things. Ty Simpson is the real deal. And Kirby Smart, for whatever reason, cannot get out of his own head against Alabama. And it's a game that causes him to do some really strange things.
But I mean, I agree. Like uh, first off, when they went for it on fourth down in the Alabama red zone, I forget what yard line on. I think it was the 11-yard line,
Yeah.
and they rushed the play, and then Gunner's rolling out. It felt discombobulated. I've heard Herb Street and Kiffin talk about it, how they run a two play. And this, you're calling in two plays at a time, pretty much. And then, okay, if we don't get it, here's where we roll. But he looked discombobulated. He didn't kick the field goal that would have tied it up. And I didn't disagree with the call, by the way. Like, I liked it. It showed some balls. You were driving down the field, but then Alabama hits you in the mouth. So, I mean, you're looking at it overall, and Kirby, it's not the end of the world, but let's not act like Georgia doesn't have some problems this year.
Well, I mean, it's realistic that one of these two teams doesn't make the college football playoff.
Whew.
I could see these two teams losing a couple games.
Yep.
If we're going
Yep.
to talk about their defense being the way it is, we've already seen Alabama lose. They've got a tough game this week that we'll discuss. We know what Tennessee did up into the wire with Georgia. These are just look, and it's the gauntlet of the schedule. If the SEC is as if we are seeing just how good the middle of the SEC is right now. If Alabama and Georgia have taken a step back from the top, then we're going to see them lose again.
Yes.
And then what's the argument like with the rest of the country? They're both really good, right?
Yeah.
I would have them in the college football playoff. They're both really good.
And Georgia hosts Ole Miss and Texas too.
Next month. They just went back to back with Tennessee and Alabama.
Right.
So like these are the games they're going to be in. Same for Bama, and we'll see how this stacks up. Ty Simpson. My takeaway from that is the winner of that game. The quarterback was coming out of it as a Heisman Trophy legitimate finalist.
Yes.
And we see Ty Simpson now as one of the front runners for it. And we set up a storyline now with Georgia moving forward where they need to stay on track. They have the coach to do it. They have the quarterback to do it. And I think ultimately the stars that they have on defense ultimately show up.
Yeah, I agree.
For as much as this was a shootout last year too. between these two teams, and we know how good the Georgia and Alabama defenses were or could be. Here's the storyline of Alabama. Do they lose their cool like we've seen? And we've seen already this year in games. We saw last year in the Vanderbilt game and others. Because there were, despite losing to Vanderbilt last year, should have lost to South Carolina and didn't. We still saw that team put together examples of the opposite of the past Bama teams. This was an example of that too.
Yep.
Which one is more consistent for Alabama? If this is that team, because of the quarterback and because of the offensive coordinator, then Kalen DeBoer is riding high. And we're done talking about Kalen DeBoer on the hot seat, thank God. That's not the storyline or the emphasis right now. But yeah, my biggest takeaway is Alabama shows up and proves that the SEC is, never been deeper as a conference, top to bottom, just based on the competition that we've seen line up and play with Georgia and Bama the last 2 years.
Perfect segue,
and
because
that was great
right.
college football.
No, it was, and it was the atmosphere. Everything about it was fantastic, and it was great. And I expect these two teams to be battling to the end of the regular season. We'll see who's playing for a title game, which will mean absolutely nothing, pretty much in the long run. But it does beg the question now. The SEC feels wide open to me. It doesn't feel like there is a dominant team in this conference right now. There are a lot of great teams, but there's not that one dominant football team right now. Even looking at LSU going to Ole Miss, Chad, and they can't figure out how to run the football. The offense is just not there. Something's up with Garrett Nussmeier. You look at the Texas A&M Auburn game where Auburn goes 0 for 13 on third down. Offense looks like shit. Auburn fans are going crazy right now with Hugh Freeze, and Texas A&M, they were good enough to win the football game. I could go on and on. Tennessee going to Mississippi State. By the way, Mississippi State's a good football team. I know folks just want to look at the past, but Mississippi State's a good football team for Tennessee to win that game. So, Chad, I ask you this because the SEC this year just feels like one of those conferences where it was last year. It's like you got a bunch of good teams. You just don't know who the top one is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's 7, 8 teams, 9 maybe that could win this conference right now. If I'm looking at it, Missouri being one of them, with the start they're off to, that they've got a very advantageous schedule they could take advantage of. And I think, Trey, what we're seeing is even the teams that have been labeled a disappointment so far, based on their win-loss record or outcomes, they all have really good defenses. That's going to give them a chance. Florida's defense is elite. Florida's 1-3.
Yes.
Florida could beat Texas. That game may end 7-3 on Saturday. I mean, Arch Manning can't do anything. Texas's defense is elite. Texas A&M, I think, can do a little bit of both, depending on the game. Auburn's defense, I think, could be elite. LSU's defense is elite. They can't move the ball either. So where Auburn and LSU and Florida and Texas have had some issues offensively, they mix in an elite defense. Tennessee's defense has been disappointing. Their offense is absolutely elite. Vanderbilt's defense, spoiler alert for my pick, they're going to give up a ton of points against good offenses in the SEC. But guess what? Vanderbilt's got one of the best 5 to 10 offenses in college football. I think you could easily argue right now. So I think it makes the league a lot of fun. Georgia's Georgia. They got high-level talent on both sides of the ball, but no, they're not dominant this year the way they have been in years past. So it's going to make for an exciting league, and I think as they move to 9 games, Trey, it's only going to get more and more exciting with some of these SEC matchups.
Well, Jonathan, Ole Miss beat LSU with a quarterback not named Austin Simmons, a guy that was throwing daggers at Ferris State last season, and now Trinidad is on the Heisman list, rightfully so. Like it's wild to see where we are as a conference, and looking at it overall, this thing literally is going to come down to the final weekend of SEC regular season play to, I think, decide who plays in Atlanta.
This is why Arkansas is saying that they don't have the money and the finances to compete, because the portal and NIL has elevated every single program to parity.
Great point.
But you still have Georgia and Bama at the top, and by the way, Bama's competing for those NIL dollars too.
Yes.
When Saban left, but Ole Miss is a great example. But this is where Lane Kiffin doesn't get enough credit. He's overhyped in so many different areas, but his lack of credit and emphasis on quarterback capability, the way that he coaches that position, we've seen it time and time again where a backup comes into the game and they're just calm, cool, and collected. He has them ready to. They're prepared. They can run the system. He knows how to adapt a game plan and a play call sheet to the backup. He does it very well, and the team is just very calm in the moment that the quarterback is not the starter, the assumed starter. I think he does a great job at that. Now, LSU is a big game for them. That game's at home. I want to see them go win a game on the road. I want to see Ole Miss win a game the way Tennessee won at Mississippi State in the type of scenario that we saw.
That's a good point. That's like
right.
that. Yeah.
But you're right about like the Ferris State. Appalachian State's quarterback's now at Tennessee, and Josh Heupel's doing the same thing with him. So I think this is the SEC the SEC is the parity example of what NIL we all said would become for across college football. It's really not across college football. It's across the top 2 conferences in college football.
That's
maybe a sprinkling of programs in other conferences. We're seeing it across the board, though, right now, top to bottom in the Southeastern Conference. And kudos to Kiffin for having those players ready, same as Heupel. And it shows that there should be any excuse for the rest of your team to be able to perform well when you don't have your starting quarterback right now in this league.
You brought up other conferences, Chad, and let's roll with this one. James Franklin, geez, man, you got fire Franklin chants going on in the third quarter because Penn State can't score. Then all of a sudden, Penn State comes roaring back. And if James Franklin wanted to or could have, if he wasn't on television, he'd have probably gone like this to the student section when they come back and they tie the game up and they send it to overtime. But we're still having this freaking conversation about Franklin and his record against AP opponents and top 10 and whatever it is, 3-25, I think it is. When we look at it right now, is this just it's going to follow him until he wins the quote unquote big one, even though he made it to the Big Ten championship last year? But Dan Lanning and his, smelling salts post game just came in there, blocked out the noise, and beat Penn State in such a hostile environment. I just don't know what to make of Penn State. They're a good football team this year. Oregon's really good football team. But it seems like James Franklin can never win. And I don't mean that like on the field. I'm just talking about in life while living in Happy Valley. I don't quite understand.
Look, James Franklin is college Peyton Manning without the opportunity to go to the NFL and become a Hall of Famer.
Oh.
Right? Like, if you ask anyone who's not a Tennessee fan about Peyton Manning's college career, what's the one thing they're going to bring up? Couldn't beat Florida. Couldn't win the big one. Couldn't get over the hump. Couldn't win the national title. And then the year that Peyton Manning leaves, Tennessee wins the national title with T. Martin. And that follows him from his college career. Now, he was a great college player. He's a college football Hall of Famer. He should have won the Heisman Trophy. He didn't. But he went on to win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams, and he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. James Franklin doesn't get that chance. 2 things can be true here. James Franklin is a great football coach that's done really, really well. I'm not going to say great. He's done really, really well at Penn State, a place with high expectations. And the other thing that's true is they're the 3rd best team in the Big Ten while he's there. Consistently. Whoever's in second, it's Ohio State, Michigan typically. But if someone else is having a great year, he's going to fall behind them. He's never truly gotten to the elite status there, even though they've been consistently really, really good at Penn State. So maybe it's another guy who's time for a change. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous to talk about firing him the way they were chanting during that game. Because he has been really good. But I think it's a case, Trey, where multiple things are all true at once. And I think James Franklin is sort of the Peyton Manning college football version with his time at Penn State.
I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's Lincoln Riley. He is Lane Kiffin. He's Brian Kelly, Mike Norvell. I mean, let's just go. There's a tier of coaches that he's on the top of the list for, and that's it. Like that. If you're he is, you know what he is? He is the placeholder like in the UFC, there are certain fighters that won't be competing for a title fight, but you
Yes.
have to go through them in order for you to be able to compete for the belt. And that's what he is. He's the placeholder. You got to get through him, surpass James Franklin, and then you're in the upper tier to have the opportunity to knock down the champion. Um, that's not a bad thing. It's not like you have a terrible career, but I mean, he's even admitting it, Trey. Post
He
game,
did. Yep. Yep.
he's
Yep.
gone from frustration and annoyance of being asked about it to not even saying, it's not even a narrative. It's fact. He knows it, and part of the problem is Drew Aller. Like Drew Aller is both the solution and the issue.
Yes. Yes.
he,
Great point.
they have gone through Trace McSorley. They've gone through the litany of quarterbacks that you want to be like, yeah, like they need that 5-star legit dude. He's that dude. He's the prototypical 6'4", 6'5" guy. He can sling it all over the yard. Freshman year, sophomore year, whatever, redshirt freshman year. NFL general managers are talking about they can't wait for a couple of years from now to see what type of player he becomes. And when the big moment steps up, he throws the pick. He's just not that dude. He can get you back into a game, but in the moment, he throws the pick. He did it against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game.
Yep.
He did it in the semifinals against Notre Dame with a chance to go and win the game. Instead, they sets up the Notre Dame game-winning field goal. He does it this past weekend. It's unfortunate because he's the quarterback version of James Franklin as a head coach. Like they're good, not great. That's good, but not great. And it's not a narrative anymore. It's just a fact. And by the way, for anyone chanting "fire James Franklin," the other programs, it's like Clemson saying "fire Dabo." Like other programs would sweep them up, and they would be lauded as making the hire of the offseason. They would be the media darling of the offseason for the new program. And here we go. Franklin's very good, but he's not great. And in this era of college football, join the club.
Yeah,
Join the
I know.
club. You're lucky to have a very good head coach because there are a lot of shitty ones getting paid to do absolutely nothing compared to what he's accomplished.
Amen.
No, you make a great point. And one of his, we're going to transition now. One of his former team, who he led to prominence, and I have to use that prominence in a weird way, but he did get them on the national stage, which is Vanderbilt. Now Clark Lee has got Vanderbilt 5-0. They could be this weekend the first FBS school to be bowl eligible. Talk about Vanderbilt here. And we talked
bowl
about
games now. I forgot about that.
no, it's past the Gasparilla Bowl. And you look at it, guys. I said this 3 weeks ago. I remember saying it on here. Vanderbilt 5-0 heading to Tuscaloosa is going to be absolute madness. Game day decided, hey, we're not going to Tallahassee anymore. We're going to go to Tuscaloosa. Okay, congrats to them. That's great. But overall, I think the ambiance and how big this is for the program for Vanderbilt. And I don't want that to get lost on everything. Johnny Manziel is going to be on the Vandy sideline with the Diego Pavia jersey on Saturday. Like, this just feels really cool to see. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But at the same time, Vanderbilt going into Alabama, is this an opportunity to catch Alabama still running off a high from last weekend? And Chad, we'll start with you. I'm not asking for your prediction yet. I'm just asking the build up to this game. My goodness, guys, like it just feels massive.
Well, I'll start here. Yes, it's a huge opportunity for Vanderbilt. To announce their presence with authority.
Right?
This is the second time they've been featured on College Game Day ever. 2008, Bobby Johnson was the head coach. The last time Vanderbilt was on College Game Day, and that one was in Nashville against Auburn. Now they go up against another Alabama school on the road. Johnny Manziel is going to be on the sideline wearing the number 2 Pavia jersey. Theo Vaughn is certainly going to be there. They have become Nashville's sweetheart, the darling of this city that Hutton and I live in, because the Titans are epic failures. The Predators have been bad for a while now too, and Vanderbilt football this fall and last fall has filled that void in this city. Giant opportunity. It's also a giant opportunity for Alabama to bitch slap them after last year. But let's be completely frank about this. Vandy just gave up 35 points to Utah State. And I know it was a backdoor cover, but Vandy's trailing midway through the second quarter of that game by a touchdown also. I think Vandy's offense is elite. Everything about Pavia and his weapons and that offensive line is very underrated too. I think all of that is legitimate, and it is a very good offensive football team. I think Alabama is going to have their way with Vandy offensively too. This is going to be a high-scoring, fun game for 3 quarters, and Bama's going to win by 17 points. I see it in my vision, Trey. It is going to be 52-35 will be the final score. Vandy's going to score 5 touchdowns and lose by 17 points, 52-35 at Alabama this weekend. But that's not going to do anything to derail all the fun that Vandy's having, especially with Pavia and that offense, because I think they're going to put up some points in this game.
But he just said 52-35, and I can't look, man. Shit could get crazy on Saturday. But looking at no matter what happens on Saturday with Vanderbilt, they still deserve to be a top 20 team. Yes. Unless they get freaking blitzed like Illinois did against Indiana. Vanderbilt deserves to be a top 20 football team, and this could continue to roll on, and they could end the season with 8 wins, 9 wins. Hell, they could still make the playoff. Hell, I don't know. But all I'm saying is whatever happens in Tuscaloosa, if they lose, okay, that's fine. But if they win, holy shit, guys, do you know what that does for Vanderbilt if they walk into Tuscaloosa and beat them on Saturday?
It makes them a college football playoff legitimate team.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a top 8 team.
What Vanderbilt has going for them is Nife Leilau, or whatever the hell his name is, isn't the one playing for this.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about. The guy.
Yeah, I remember.
We want Bam in the most feminine voice ever.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. Trey, you say this game feels massive. It feels massive for us. I don't think nationally they have a clue what this game actually means.
Agreed.
Personally.
Agreed.
Game day should be in Tallahassee for the
record. Yes.
That regardless of what happened last weekend, it should be Florida State, Miami. That should be game day. The fact that it's where it is because of Nick Saban, what he said about Vanderbilt a year ago, the fact that Vanderbilt won, the fact that Alabama beat Georgia, and they can say nice things about Bama and all this. That's why it's there.
Do you think it also? Can I interrupt?
I think they expect the 1-800 ass whip. I do.
But do you think also with game day, since we're just talking about the media business in general, you remember all the shit that Florida State got from ESPN and everybody wanted to go after him because Jordan Travis, and that's why they didn't get the playoff because Florida State fans think. You think that had something to do with the fact that ESPN might have just heard fuck ESPN for about 3 hours on Saturday?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I think that the powers that be at the college game day don't look at it that way.
Okay, all right. I don't.
It just shows Bama Vandy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And I realize they have the game, but they also have the rights to the ACC.
They've got that game at 7:30 that night.
I know. So where did Kirk Herbstreit want? Is Kirk Herbstreit? Which game's he calling? That game.
Herbie's calling Florida State.
See, that's where they should be.
Right.
Personally,
right.
I would put them there.
Okay, yeah, Sean McDonald. Yeah.
Whatever. They understand like we do the impact of this game. This is also them validating Vanderbilt by saying Vanderbilt is more than just this up-and-coming team that had an upset last year that happened to start 5-0 because they had the Ole Miss schedule.
Yep.
All right? This does feel like this. Hear me out here, because I'm not trying to contradict myself at all.
Okay.
This feels like the hype behind Kentucky and Georgia that Chad and I went on the road for, and we watched a 1-800 ass whip with Georgia beating the fuck out of them. Kentucky. All right.
2021.
This feels like Ole Miss coming in unbeaten against Alabama, and the Crimson Tide fans showed up and went to church and tithed, and it's 21-28 nothing at halftime with Lane Kiffin, holding his dick as he goes into the locker room because he's afraid to get, cup checked.
Yes.
On the way in. That's what it feels like. This is not that, because this doesn't feel like a typical Vanderbilt team.
Well, it also doesn't feel like a Nick Saban coached Bama team. Jump in there too. Like I think the biggest difference was the common denominator of those games you mentioned. A lot of times was Kirby Smart in the Georgia Kentucky deal or Nick Saban, and I think that's yes, Vandy's
Oh, but
totally
hey,
different, but I think that's where it's really different. Is if this was Nick Saban coming back from a loss a year ago to Vandy, I'd feel a lot better about my 1-800 ass whipping pick for Alabama. But because it's not, I think everybody's a little bit tentative about it.
but you know what? It's also not Jackson Dart or Will Levis in college football coming in playing this game. This is Diego Pavia. Like this kid
Who doesn't give a shit. He
gives
is going
zero
if
fucks,
if
Trey.
he broke two legs on Saturday, but somehow he got into the fourth quarter and there was he wouldn't care one bit.
I
This
love this
guy,
about him.
yes.
But so again, is this game as hyped as we're making it? Like internally here with the three of us, no, it's not.
Right.
I don't think the country has a clue about Diego Pavia in terms of how we're describing him. He's the Heisman frontrunner if they win this game, hands down. I think he's 8th in the odds right now.
Yeah.
He's the Heisman frontrunner across college football. If Vanderbilt beats Bama in Tuscaloosa and they ride 6-0, and they've done it again to the Crimson Tide, and they've done it the way they've gone about things this season. That no one's going to look at the last 2 games and what they've done. They're going to look at Bama as a 2-loss team that just beat Georgia, and what does that mean for the SEC? And they're going to start looking at Vanderbilt's schedule along the way. That's how the storyline plays out for Diego Pavia, who's back for another year. The jokes about the 7th year, all the NFL discussion is going to happen on First Take all of a sudden, and is he too small to play, and who's this kid out of nowhere, and Johnny Manziel's on the side. They're going to become, like, they're already cool. They're going to become the shit. That's
The darling. The darling of college
That's what's
football.
at stake here. It's not like the college football playoff is going to be disrupted and turned upside down. It's going to be the glass shattering like Stone Cold Steve Austin's entering the arena if Vanderbilt, because it's Diego Pavia. It's going to be all about Pavia and what that means. And by the way, it's happening at Vanderbilt.
Right.
That's the key here. That's the storyline that we're all wanting to see. At least I'm wanting to see here. So
yes.
maybe we see Alabama beat them down. That's what is expected, I think.
Yeah.
Like that's the expectation here. But the expectation for Vanderbilt, I don't think we can actually say what it is. They went 7-6 last year. They lost to Georgia State. This is a team that can go 9-3 and make an argument. And by the way, a good one against a 2-loss Notre Dame team right now.
Yes.
College football playoff. So let's just state what this is. This is massive for Vanderbilt. This is huge for Alabama. Massive for Vanderbilt. And I don't think as a country, as a college football viewing audience, we have any clue the magnitude of what it means if Vanderbilt wins.
That's a great point. And it gives us an opportunity to jump right into predictions coming up for the weekend. Hutton, I'm going to start off with you. And we'll go. So I got 3 games for us. And if y'all pick one out that y'all like more than others, I don't give a shit. We can roll with it. But I'm going to start off with Miami versus Florida State. I'm going to go Alabama, Vanderbilt, and then I'll throw one at you, Texas, Florida. So Miami, Florida State, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Texas, Florida. Hut, take it away.
Carson Beck is a convict. All right, so let me.
Yeah,
I said to begin the season, in Catholics versus convicts. I wanted to see if Carson Beck had any convict in him. The dude does, man.
Oh, God.
He does, man. He's straight up criminal. All right, I respect that. Miami's winning this game. Castellanos is a quitter. The other quarterback's a convict. So give me the quarterback who's got a little bite to him and that'll show up and play well. That's Miami. The Hurricanes. And I'll save this for Chad, but I think Chad knows. I think he's going to go this way too because there's only one good team in the ACC. Let's go to who was the second game?
We'll go Bama Vanderbilt second game.
Vanderbilt's winning.
Yeah.
The Vanderbilt's winning. They're not just covering. What's the spread right now? 10.5 as we take this.
10.5.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's begging us to take Bama.
Yes.
Begging us to take Bama. Just take the outright winner here. And I've already declared this. This is my wrong team favorite for the week. Vanderbilt's going on the road and winning at Tuscaloosa. This is still the same Bama team that throws mouthpieces and throws helmets and is very undisciplined whenever things get going the wrong way.
Yep.
They're a lot like the Baltimore Ravens. When things go bad, they don't tend to jump out and take control of anything. When things are going great, they're front runners. And I don't mean that in the most negative way possible.
No.
But, they know how to win well and they lose horrifically. And Diego Pavia is going to be throwing up the middle birds after he scores in the end zone. And it's become the new meme of college football.
Last one for you, brother. Texas is traveling to Florida in what feels like the ultimate freaking trap game for Texas because I don't know what to expect from their offense.
Billy Napier's getting fired.
Okay.
This is Arch Manning. This is Texas winning this game, and Billy Napier's getting fired on Monday. Sunday.
Does it feel like I know Ty Simpson kind of went blank when it came to scoring in the second half, but he did have control. Like it just feels like Arch Manning coming out party. I don't know if that even makes sense because it's Arch Manning.
There's not a single thing that feels like Arch Manning's coming out party to me. I don't think he's
except if they're playing Florida.
Florida's defense is good though. I mean,
exactly.
Florida's defense is the only thing that's good about that team. Guys, this is gonna be 7-3. I think this could be a 10-7, 13-10 type game. Would not shock me at all if Florida wins this game. They're not going to, because I don't think they have the fight or the quarterback to win a game like this, even at home. But I don't think Texas has the quarterback to dominate Florida on the road in the swamp. So Texas is going to win, let's say 14-10. I'm going to say Texas is going to win that game in a low-scoring slugfest. I've already said it. Vandy, they're going to put up a fight. They're going to score some points. It's going to be really exciting for a large portion of that game. And Alabama's going to be too much offensively, and Vandy's defense is not going to hang in there well. 52-35 Alabama in that one. And I really want to take Florida State at home, but I really don't believe in Mike Norvell. I really don't, especially after that loss to Virginia. So, give me the convicts.
There we go.
Convicts win it.
No, I'm going to say convicts. It's not plural. There's just convict.
Yeah, convict. Give me the convict, singular, 34-28. I'm going to say Miami holds on and wins against Florida State.
According to Hutton, Carson Beck has somehow got hard this year, really hard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of a Cavender twin.
He's Will Ferrell with the cornrows, is what you're saying.
The other Cavender twin's going to want to date him after this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone else has had that effect when they see him, but no longer Carson Beck after he got dumped. I'm going Miami rolls into Tallahassee, beats Miami by 14. Alabama beats Vanderbilt by 7 in the fourth quarter. Alabama beats Vanderbilt by 7. Vanderbilt is still right there, only moves a spot or two down in the rankings. And then Texas, in my opinion, in the second half, kind of gets open with a running game and beats Florida by 14. So I think
spread in that game?
If I'm not mistaken, it was Texas -5. So
can we double the spread, Chad? Can we make it 10-0?
Yeah, that's a good point. It could have worked. Just go. That's fine. Okay. Well, this has been another edition of the College Football Roundtable, powered by
walked off on the Cavender twins conversation. That just should have been all right and save recording and get out right in that moment. The last 90 seconds have not been fruitful.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's the point, guys. Just go follow Chad and Jonathan at Hot Mike on YouTube. Watch their show at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock Eastern every single day. And congratulations to Carson Beck. My man got hard. Really, really hard. Y'all have a great week. We're out.
Like Will Ferrell, he got hard. Thanks, Trey. Always a blast, man.
Thank you, Trey.